Kyle was questionable with an illness. Is he available for you?
He's good.
Yes. Jericho, right thumb sprain, questionable.
Still questionable.
Okay. Is that? I mean, obviously he's right-handed, but he's not someone who handles the ball. Is that something of just comfort of just being able to play through it?
It's a pretty good injury, so
okay. It is. All right.
Probably decisions will have to be made.
Oh wow. Okay. Does that mean in terms of like him, he's considering perhaps surgery?
Yeah, it's a consideration for sure.
Okay. Giannis and Dame probable.
Good.
Giannis, small change, but maybe not insignificant. That it's not with the calf. It's sort of the right knee thing he's been dealing with since camp. What is?
Yeah, I didn't even know that until just now. Is that right? Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I was gonna say. I mean, the whole goal of this the last month has been to. I know even for him to make sure he's healthy or gets through because calves are tricky.
In the game, though, I mean, there's nothing you can do with that, So, but I don't think it's anything that serious. So.
No, I meant like the fact that he got through this point with the calf.
Yeah.
And we're able to manage it. So is he maybe on a way to? I don't want to say 38, 39 minutes, but maybe on a way to be used.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, but I don't think yet is the answer to that.
On top of that, last night you had kind of mentioned that both times against Pacers, you felt like conditioning might be, I don't want to say an issue, but
I didn't hear the question.
Conditioning?
Yeah.
I'm curious, thinking about that, what the minutes are, when you start to stretch guys out, like how that consideration that like, I don't know if they're ready conditioning-wise.
Conditioning is just something separate of minutes in the game, obviously. It's hard conditioning in the NBA late in the year, and it's also hard to you can't replicate intensity. And so I've been on teams, I've coached teams where you thought your team was in great shape, and then this great intense game in the playoffs, and you can't match it. There's nothing you can do about it. And so what you try to do is over-condition, and to the point where you feel safe with our guys. And so I just thought we were winded last night. There's no doubt about that. Whether that's a conditioning issue or not, we don't know yet, but we'll figure it out.
Start of the game the other night, you had Kuz in the dribble handoff with Giannis a little bit. What'd you like about that look?
Just his ability to go downhill. We're still trying to find what we can do with Kuz, and we actually think we pretty much know. We just haven't gotten to it yet. It just hasn't been enough time to work on things. He really doesn't have a set yet. He's playing, everything he does is more organically, and he's been great at that. And that's why I'm so bullish on him, because I know that the best is yet to come with him.
Doc, you've got one of the most challenging guys to defend on your side without fouling. Now, you saw one of them the other night with Doncic. You're going to see him again later this week. Tonight you got SGA, Butler tomorrow, or I guess the next game. Is there a bedrock principle when it comes to defending without fouling, and how much do you change it from one guy to the next over the stretch?
Well, they're all different. They all three do it in different ways. Butler is more pump fakes. Luka throws his body into you. And Shea, is just crafty as hell too. So you can warn them, you can tell them, but I always say if it was easy, we wouldn't be talking about them, and they must be really good. And so it sounds great. I always get on my coaches, we got to tell them to hold their arms back. I said, okay. Anything else? Any other advice? And they're all going to try to do it. And some nights, guys do it better than other nights. And we're hoping tonight with Shea, we do a great job of it. And we hope we can play guys and keep them out of foul trouble with him. He's just very crafty. He has the ball a lot, That's where Jimmy is a little different, because Jimmy actually doesn't have the ball a lot and he still draws fouls, where Luka and Shea have the ball most of the game. And so it's probably easier for them to do it.
Hey.
Go ahead, the coach.
Mark, you guys have seen teams like Milwaukee over the course of the season that play, big and have great positional size, even last night against Detroit. What do you think that you all have learned offensively about some ways to play your strengths against these types of teams?
I think we've done a pretty good job. I think you got to play fast.
up the floor, which I think we've done a decent job of. And then you just got to work actions against them. You got to take what's available. So if you get something early in a possession, you got to take it, because it's hard to regenerate an advantage against good defenses. This is a good defense. And then if you don't have a great advantage, you got to be able to work the possession and try to find the best shot that you can. So the team's found a great blend of that. I think we're in a great kind of offensive frame of mind. Over a long period of time, we seem to be playing with a great sense of purpose on that end of the floor. But tonight's a challenge. They're a really good defense. They need the game, and they're going to be ready to go.
Mark, obviously, you're missing pieces, change things, but last time you played these guys, you had Hartenstein, Notchet, you had both. Like, can you rely on the data from back then? Like, how much of that do you use, knowing that you can throw something entirely new out there today?
Well, we definitely want to take a look at that tonight, because this is a different style of team than we've played. Denver's probably the closest thing, when they had Gordon, but he obviously got hurt in the game, so they didn't have him very long. Where it's like kind of a paint dominant team, or at least the capability of being paint dominant, and trying to fight force with size. And so we're excited to see what we learned tonight with that. In terms of the game back then, it was a long time ago. Like you said, there's different. They're different from the trade deadline. We're different in terms of health standpoint. We're also, we're missing some guys tonight as well. So, it's another data point. We'll know a little bit more at the end of the night, but we're not going to know everything, obviously.
And the way Shea was contained and denied by Andre Jackson, that's obviously like a far cry from what he's done most of the season. What do you remember about what Andre was able to do there, and how much he was paying attention to that tonight?
They haven't played him very much. I'm interested to see how much they use him tonight for that. But it's an attack we've seen. It's obviously we haven't seen them at full strength since then. But like we've seen that with Dylan Brooks, we've seen it with Jalen Wells. We've had different attacks against that over the course of the season. Teams try a lot of different things, and there's only so many things you can try. And so we'll see what they do. We'll calibrate it in the game as we always do, and try to attack it as best we can.
Coach, how much of a luxury is it to have a guy like Kenrich Williams, where he's only started 3 games this season, you roll him out in that starting lineup yesterday and give you some good minutes there?
Yeah, he's just on a long list of guys on our team that stay in character regardless of what role you put them in. And we have a deep team. We have a good team. We have a team full of guys that are willing to commit to the team and sacrifice on a given night if it's not their night. And if you play K-Rich 5 minutes, which we've done, or you play him 30 like we did last night, he's the same player, and you know exactly what you're getting. And we have kind of an environment of that, culture of that at this point. Jay Will's like that, Isaiah Joe's like that, Wiggins, who's available, by the way. Wiggins will play tonight. Wiggins is like that. We've got a slew of guys that you can move the role around and put them in different circumstances, and they just stay in character, and it gives us a lot of flexibility, and it's a huge advantage for us.
Mark, you mentioned that the Bucks are different since their trade. What stands out to you that now we have to be aware of this?
The defense has been really good. That's one thing, and it just adds to their existing strengths. They've always been a good team, and now they seem to be clicking on that end of the floor. They're tough to score on. I have not studied the Bucks. They're in the East. I don't see them very much, and then we just played last night, so I took a nap today. It wasn't like a huge deep dive. It was every nap's a good nap. Yeah. It wasn't a huge deep dive, but I've seen them enough to know that really good team, and we're excited because we're on the road. And this is a hungry opponent. They're competing for home floor. They need every one of these games. And we've had a week of this. We played Denver twice. We played Boston on the road. We played Detroit last night. We get these guys tonight. Our goal going into that stretch was to be a better team through these experiences. I think we're on that track right now, and tonight's another opportunity to do that.